What's up guys, welcome back. This is Light here, and today I got some really good news to share. So Arbitrum has finally unveiled their airdrop, and they're going to be dropping their governance token known as ARB in less than 7 days. Now we have obviously talked about this Arbitrum airdrop for very long time on multiple occasions on the channel. Last time was a month ago on February 15 when we did the live stream and when we went on all of these speculations and what you exactly needed to do. Now, the bad news is that the timestamp was taken on February 6th. And I'm really sad about that because a lot of people obviously watched this video and did the steps, and they would have been eligible if the timestamp was taken on the 15th, for example. So we got really unlucky here, sadly, with this specific timing of this, live stream. And, this is kind of what happens. But the steps that you still did on this video, you might be having airdrops for some of the other things that we talked about, like ARB ID, for example, or the Magically NFT marketplace. So those might still have an airdrop. So you're not totally out of the game yet, but sadly, you are not going to be getting the ARB tokens in case you were not interacting with the thing prior to February 6th and didn't meet the requirements, which we're going to be talking about later. But I do want to emphasize, though, this wasn't the last stream wasn't the only time when we were talking about Arbitrum. Back in November, I did this DeFi airdrop video, and this is the latest one I did. And I probably did a couple of other ones in 2022. And here we did talk about the Arbitrum and the Odyssey. We talked about Starknet, which we're going to be doing stream next about, and then Sui. So stay tuned for those two. But, we're going to be addressing some of those other stuff in another video. But basically, I did talk about Arbitrum, and I did emphasize doing it, ages ago. So do not blame me, obviously, for having a bad timing. Now, what we're going to be now talking about, obviously, is the eligibility things here. So basically, you have to connect your MetaMask, and then you are able to basically see how much you were eligible. I roughly had 4 accounts, and so I got about 8,200 Arbitrum tokens. The max supply is 10 billion, and the criteria were bridging multiple transactions in 2 different months, and that was something that I obviously expected, something we talked about on the live stream. And then there was interacting with different types of smart contracts, which I also talked about on the stream. Transaction value and moving a shit ton of fucking money was not something I did expect, though. So these were pretty crazy amounts of 10,000. Okay, a lot of people are not going to be moving that much in terms of bridging. And then there was the Arbitrum Nova bridging, which we also talked about. But once again, I do want to emphasize here, I'm really sorry about that we kind of got unlucky here in terms of with the distribution. That it's just if I had done this live stream 2 weeks earlier, everybody would be making some money now. Now, let's talk about the other aspect here about the tokenomics and what is obviously the price prediction here. So I'm going to be emphasizing really a lot in here with the TVL. So the total market value, TVL, total value locked, and that means obviously how much is in the DeFi ecosystem, like Aave, Uniswap, and all of that type of stuff. How much money is in the ecosystem? And in terms of things in Arbitrum, it's a very active chain, 234 dApps or protocols, and now there's been already this is increasing right now because people are learning about the airdrop. People are going to be interacting with all types of dApps in the ecosystem right now, and it's currently at 1.644 billion, and that is it's likely going to be, once the token is going to be launching, there's going to be a very likelihood that it's going to be number 3, and it's going to be Pybasing Tron. That's my prediction. Let's see if that's going to be turning out. And obviously, one of the things when I'm going to be talking about the price here is the comparison to Optimism. Optimism was a huge airdrop in terms of value, really, really big airdrop in terms of monetary value. I still think it's still the highest that has ever been done. And because Arbitrum is valued higher than Optimism, not necessarily I do think Optimism is cheaper to use than Arbitrum, but because Arbitrum basically has almost the double total value locked versus Optimism. It has more dApps and it has like bigger investors behind it. I don't know how many developers and GitHubs and all types of stuff, but TVL is a very big indicator on the actual value of the chain, and obviously that TVL is just going to go up because there's going to be billions of tokens basically released on the chain, and there's going to be liquidity for those, because I think there's going to be some types of tasks pulled together and things like that are going to be having forms of yield farming for the Arbitrum token. So I think Aave, pull together, things like these types of dApps are going to be having Curve, if Curve is actually on Arbitrum. But yeah, expect there to be some rewards for tradings and things like that, and maybe even Hub Protocol, but etc. Okay, now the supply is 10 billion. With Optimism, it is 4.3 billion. And that's our biggest frame of reference. These are the most closest two projects to each other. And Optimism is currently ranked number 58. And that's pretty high ranking. So we're assuming that the Arbitrum is going to be at launch valued higher than Optimism. Now, I'm not going to go on the full math here because I don't have the MCAP, which I could like basically run those numbers. But basically, roughly, I think the value per token is going to be $1.5 roughly, I think. $1.5 to $1, okay? It could even go high as $2, but that would make the valuation 20 billion, and that would basically how many actual tokens would be actually below 20 billion. It would be above XRP, so that's pretty crazy. So $2 is just too much, I think, just too much. But then again, not all the supply is basically released on launch, which is a very important thing we need to understand. Another problem that I have it here is that there's going to be inflation, max 2% per year. Now, okay, why does the governance token have to inflate? So is there going to be a staking? What exactly does this mean? And what does it mean by max 2% a year? Is that based on the staked amount, or what exactly is being given out? Is this inflation given out to stakers or to the validators in the network? And why exactly the validator rewards can come from the initial pools? Okay, so that's the important thing. I don't like this at all. That's a lot of inflation. So comparison, Ethereum inflates 0.5% and Bitcoin inflates 1.65% per year. Obviously, Cardanos and Tezos and all types of staking coins inflate a lot more. So this is not the worst case scenario, but this is not a gas token. They're still going to be paying the gas on Ethereum. So yeah, maybe that's not really a good thing. And here's the snapshot we talked about earlier. So congratulations to everybody. There were a lot of people in my community who were using and told me that they got the drop. So congratulations once again. Let's go into the actual tokenomics here. So basically 42% are going to be going into treasury. That's going to be launched at day one, to my understanding. 11.62% are going to be given out to the airdrop. That is 1.1 million tokens. And 1% is going to be giving into DAO treasury addresses. So the DAOs building applications. What exactly that means is a bit, I'm not sure. Is that on some specific projects? Are they going to be launching in the whatever? And then 26% is going to the team. That's quite a lot. But then again, development is not cheap, and then there's advisors in the board too, which are going to be getting money. It doesn't specify like how much is going to the advisors. That's kind of big here. And then there is the investors, which get around 17% of the supply. That's also quite a lot, but there's been worse cases than that. But the team and the investors and the advisors are subjected to 4-year vesting, and it doesn't specify actually like, okay, is that breaking like that's like what, 48 months? So are they getting like 2% per month or whatever? So how much is going to be unlocked on day one? And so there's not really a lot of like important documentation on that, but we can assume basically that the supply at launch is going to be roughly around, running the numbers up around, 13%. So it's not really that much on launch. And there's going to be, like, I talked about all of this, that there's going to be a very big start on the valuation. It could be like super high, like $3, then it's going to crash down, and then it's going to be like coming back again to dollar or something like that in the first 10 hours or something. So I don't know how it's going to be valued based on the market. Like it's like the $2 or $3 sounds very crazy based on the total supply, but if it's going to be valued at the current supply, it could go into like top 20 tokens. But I think once again, it seems to be on the dollar range. That seems the most like $1 to $1.5 seems to be my estimation. And basically, you get points basically by doing these tasks, and these points basically were converted into these things. So most people, the biggest chances you got the 10K. Most people I talked to got like 1,700 or 3,000. So that seems to be the average. And okay, there's a wallet balance thing that's also very interesting. So people who basically withdraw everything, there's a lot of sizable things here done here. And the DAO criteria is as follows: separate distribution allocated for DAOs that are building applications on Arbitrum ecosystem, as well as protocol guild, collective Ethereum contributors. Distribution of token DAOs are weighed based on a variety of factors, including time on projects that have been on Arbitrum TVL. So basically, there's going to be probably some given out to Magically and the Grail. I think they mean like dApps here, not just DAOs. Okay, I think there's going to be some things. I don't know, but that could be open to interpretation. So I'm not going to make this review any longer. As I already alluded earlier, the claiming will happen on less than 7 days, and there's going to be a big crash, and starts high, crashes, then goes back, stabilizes in 24 hours a bit. So you got to be really careful about at what point you're going to be selling, but you might want to buy the dip even if you really want to, if you're really betting on Arbitrum ecosystem as a whole and think they're going to be de facto layer 2. There are a lot of big institutions aboard on this project, so it's not totally out of question. And my only prediction really is that it will be higher market cap than Optimism. But, I would be very surprised if it actually would rate lower, given the market conditions. But I do want to emphasize here, guys, that yeah, it's the inflation is very worrying, and that's one reason I'm really skeptical about of the idea of like holding for a very long term. So I'm probably going to be selling somewhere between 80% of all my tokens at the first 24 hours, and then I'm going to be seeing, or the first 48 hours, and then I'm going to be seeing later on what I will be doing with the tokens. But yeah, congratulations to everybody, and stay tuned obviously for those next 2 streams on Stark and Sui, because a lot of people lost thousands because they didn't do the tasks at the time. So you're going to be thinking twice again by not doing the task when we have the next stream. So make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notifications up so you will be knowing when that video will be dropping. Thanks for watching. I will be seeing you in the next video. Cheers.